Welcome back to Today we will learn about the explosive developments brewing in Salem as Thursday's episode promises to deliver earth-shattering revelations that will forever alter the landscape of multiple families. The Black family's heartbreaking deception deepens. The emotional turmoil surrounding the Black family reaches unprecedented heights as Brady Black finds himself in the devastating position of consoling his son Tate, who remains completely unaware of the cruel twist of fate that has already unfolded before his very eyes. In what can only be described as a masterclass in dramatic irony, Tate continues to grieve the loss of his child, believing he has been permanently separated from his newborn daughter. The tragic reality, however, paints a far more complex picture. Sources reveal that Tate has actually been in direct contact with his biological child during recent interactions, unknowingly holding the very baby he believes has been whisked away to an undisclosed location with mysterious adoptive parents. The infant, affectionately referred to as Tesoro in recent episodes, represents the living, breathing embodiment of Tate's paternal dreams that Sophia Choi's elaborate web of deception continues to systematically destroy. Brady's attempts to provide comfort to his emotionally shattered son take on an even more poignant dimension when viewed through the lens of this devastating secret. The veteran Salem resident, having weathered countless storms throughout his own tumultuous romantic history, draws upon his extensive experience with heartbreak to guide Tate through what he perceives to be an insurmountable loss. Yet the cruel irony remains that the very solution to Tate's anguish lies tantalizingly close, hidden beneath layers of carefully constructed lies. Sophia's dangerous game of manipulation. The pressure mounting on Sophia Choi reaches a critical breaking point as Sarah Horton Kyriakis intensifies her campaign to force the truth into the open. Sarah's medical background and innate sense of ethical responsibility compel her to push harder against Sophia's increasingly elaborate fabrications, recognizing the psychological damage being inflicted upon not only Tate but potentially the innocent child caught in the crossfire. Sophia's determination to maintain her fictional narrative demonstrates a level of calculated cruelty that even seasoned Salem residents would find shocking. Her refusal to acknowledge the reality of the situation stems from a complex mixture of fear, desperation, and what appears to be a misguided belief that her deception somehow serves a greater purpose. The young woman's psychological state continues to deteriorate as she digs deeper into her web of lies, each fabricated detail requiring additional layers of deception to maintain credibility. The ramifications of Sophia's choices extend far beyond the immediate participants in this drama. Sarah's medical expertise allows her to recognize the potential long-term psychological consequences for all parties involved, particularly the innocent child who will inevitably become aware of the circumstances surrounding their early life. The mounting pressure from Sarah represents not merely an inconvenience for Sophia, but a genuine threat to the entire foundation upon which her deception rests. The DiMera courtroom crisis reaches its climax. The tension within the Salem courthouse reaches fever pitch as jury foreman Leo Stark guides his fellow jurors toward what promises to be one of the most consequential verdicts in recent Salem history. The deliberation process, unusually transparent for daytime television, provides viewers with unprecedented insight into the mechanics of justice as it unfolds in real time. Leo's leadership during these crucial deliberations showcases both his theatrical flair and his unexpected capacity for serious responsibility. The former gossip columnist turned jury foreman must navigate the complex personalities and varying perspectives of his fellow jurors while ensuring that justice prevails, regardless of his personal relationships with the parties involved. His unique position offers viewers a rare glimpse into the human drama that unfolds behind closed doors during jury deliberations. The weight of Johnny DiMera's future hangs in the balance as each juror grapples with the evidence presented during the trial. The complexity of the case, combined with the high-profile nature of the DiMera family's involvement, creates an atmosphere of intense scrutiny that extends far beyond the courthouse walls. Salem residents await the verdict with bated breath, understanding that its implications will reverberate throughout the community for years to come. Kristen's desperate maternal gambit. The revelation that young Rachel Black served as EJ's shooter transforms Kristen DiMera's entire worldview, forcing the traditionally self-serving schemer into uncharted territory as she confronts the prospect of genuine maternal sacrifice. Kristen's desperation reaches new heights as she realizes that traditional DiMera manipulation tactics prove insufficient against the stark reality of a child's involvement in such serious criminal activity. E.J. DiMera's unwavering refusal to allow his own son Johnny to suffer for Rachel's actions creates an impossible dilemma that threatens to tear apart the already fragile DiMera family structure. His position, while morally defensible, places him in direct opposition to Kristen's maternal instincts, creating a conflict that neither traditional negotiation nor family loyalty can easily resolve. The district attorney's commitment to justice, even when it conflicts with family interests, demonstrates a level of integrity that surprises even his closest allies. Kristen's mounting panic leads her to consider increasingly desperate measures, including the possibility of false confession to protect her daughter from the harsh realities of the juvenile justice system. This potential sacrifice represents a dramatic departure from Kristen's historically self-preserving nature, suggesting that motherhood has fundamentally altered her priorities in ways that even she did not anticipate. Marlena's psychological intervention strategy. Dr. Marlena Evans employs her considerable psychiatric expertise to navigate the treacherous waters of Rachel's fragmented mental state, recognizing the signs of dissociative amnesia that threaten to complicate an already volatile situation. Her professional assessment suggests that Rachel's young mind has essentially erected protective barriers to shield her from the full psychological impact of her actions, creating a complex therapeutic challenge. Marlena's carefully orchestrated distraction techniques serve multiple purposes, simultaneously protecting Rachel's delicate psychological state while providing EJ and Kristen the opportunity to negotiate a potential resolution. Her understanding of childhood trauma and its long-term implications guides her approach, ensuring that any intervention prioritizes Rachel's mental health above immediate legal considerations. The veteran psychiatrist's involvement adds a layer of professional credibility to the family's efforts to protect Rachel while acknowledging the seriousness of the situation. Her recommendations will likely prove crucial in determining Rachel's future, whether that involves therapeutic intervention, legal proceedings, or some combination of both approaches. The climactic false confession gambit. As the episode reaches its dramatic crescendo, Kristen DiMera appears poised to execute the ultimate maternal sacrifice by falsely confessing to EJ's shooting, thereby protecting both Rachel and Johnny from the devastating consequences of the truth. This desperate gambit represents Kristen's final attempt to control a situation that has spiraled far beyond her considerable manipulative abilities. The timing of Kristen's potential confession, coinciding with the jury's verdict announcement, creates maximum dramatic impact while potentially rendering the entire trial proceedings moot. Her calculated decision to wait until the last possible moment demonstrates both her strategic thinking and her hope that alternative solutions might emerge, even as she prepares to sacrifice her own freedom. The psychological and emotional toll of this decision reverberates throughout Salem's interconnected families, forcing each character to confront their own moral boundaries and priorities. Kristen's transformation from scheming antagonist to self-sacrificing mother completes a character arc that few could have predicted, establishing new dynamics that will undoubtedly influence future storylines for months to come. Is Philip really after Gabby? Tensions rise in Salem as secrets threaten to unravel the Titan-DiMera merger. Welcome back, dear friends, to another day in Salem where secrets, suspicions, and betrayals seem to brew stronger than a pot of fresh coffee at the Brady pub. Today, our focus turns to three key players: Steve, the ever-determined investigator; Belle, the brilliant attorney caught in the crossfire of love and justice; and Philip, a man whose sharp smile often hides even sharper intentions. And of course, at the center of it all is Gabby Hernandez, whose ambition and resilience have always made her both admired and distrusted in equal measure. Gabby's visit to Steve, the fear behind the FOIA. The day begins with Gabby nervously knocking on Steve Johnson's office door. For those who may not be familiar, Steve has a knack for uncovering the truth, even when it's buried beneath layers of lies and legal maneuvering. Gabby looks restless, her words tumbling out quickly as she explains her worry. The bosses at Titan and Demera Enterprises are growing increasingly agitated over a Freedom of Information Act, FOIA, request Steve filed. Now, this may sound like dry paperwork to some, but in Salem, documents can carry the weight of loaded guns. Steve, with his trademark calm, doesn't see their agitation as a problem. In fact, he interprets it as a sign of guilt. If they're sweating over paperwork, he tells Gabby, then they're hiding something. It's a chilling thought. What kind of secrets could Titan and Demera be so desperate to keep from the light? Gabby, though tough as nails in most business settings, can't hide her anxiety. She's worked too hard to climb to the top, and if the walls of power start shaking, she knows she might be standing directly under the rubble. Belle and Philip cross paths. Sympathy or strategy? Meanwhile, in the bustling Salem Square, Belle Black runs into her old friend and former flame, Philip Kyriakis. Their conversation begins innocently enough, centered on the case that's capturing the entire town's attention, Johnny Demera's trial. Belle, ever the consummate lawyer, admits she hopes she didn't perform too well in her defense arguments, because deep down she wants Johnny to be found innocent. Philip, leaning into his charm, pretends to offer sympathy. He mentions what EJ did to Belle in court, a cruel move that exposed personal heartbreak before the world. He even hints at being concerned about her breakup, suggesting he could be a shoulder to lean on. But Belle, wise and experienced, sees straight through his act. Philip's compassion feels rehearsed, more performance than sincerity. Yet she doesn't dismiss him completely. Old ties, after all, die hard. Beneath his polished exterior, there may still be fragments of the boy she once knew. Still, she knows enough to tread carefully. Enter Gabby, a collision of pasts and presents. Just as Philip and Belle are seated for coffee, Gabby enters the square. She catches sight of the two old acquaintances and, with her usual confidence, approaches their table. Belle, always graceful under pressure, excuses herself to meet Steve, leaving Gabby and Philip alone. What happens next is a masterclass in Salem suspicion. Gabby, with a bright smile, innocently suggests they have lunch together. Just to talk about work, she claims. But Philip, ever calculating, narrows his eyes. He asks her bluntly whether she is the one trying to sabotage the Titan-Demera merger. The air between them grows thick with tension. To be accused of such a thing is no small matter. Gabby knows her reputation precedes her. Clever, ambitious, sometimes ruthless. But this time she swears on her daughter's life that she has done nothing of the sort. For a moment, Philip studies her face, searching for a crack in her armor. And then, perhaps reluctantly, he nods. He chooses to believe her, at least for now. He agrees to lunch, but makes it clear that work will not be part of the conversation. What lies ahead? The question lingering over Salem now is this: if not Gabby, then who? Someone is clearly moving pieces behind the scenes to shake the foundations of the Titan-Demera merger. Steve's FOIA request rattled the cage, and the animals inside are beginning to roar. Belle, caught in her own storm with Johnny's trial and EJ's betrayal, may soon find herself dragged even deeper into this corporate war. And Philip, well, with Philip, nothing is ever simple. He smiles, he charms, but he also schemes. Did he truly believe Gabby's denial? Or is he merely biding his time, waiting for her to slip up? For now, Salem continues to spin on its axis of secrets and lies. Friendships blur into rivalries, and rivals masquerade as allies. In this town, the truth may come out, but never without leaving scars. One thing is certain. Gabby may have cleared her name in Philip's eyes today, but tomorrow's battles are already looming. And if history has taught us anything about Salem, it's that peace is only ever the calm before the storm.